What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm Chase Lee, reviewing for DallasMovieScreenings.com, and the movie I want to take a look at right now is The Photograph. Now, this one comes from Universal. It is written and directed by Stella Meggy, and this one stars LaKeith Stanfield as Michael, and he meets a character named May, played by Issa. And they strike up this modern relationship as we get to see the ups and downs of their initial relationship as they are, starting to form it, and, the complexity that comes with that. While at the same time, we get to see this other relationship happening in the past. I think it was like the 40s or the 50s. And it's actually May's parents. And we get to see how they met, maybe fell apart, came back together again, and just the complexity of their relationship. So these two timelines are happening at the same time, and they're all connecting each other in some way, shape, or form. But that's all I'll say. I wanted to keep it as vague as possible, just in case if you didn't see the trailer and you want to go into this as blind as possible. So, the first initial reaction for the trailer, I thought it looked a little too generic for my taste, maybe a little too corny, kind of reminded me of like a modern Nicholas Sparks movie. And this is coming from someone who, likes stuff like The Notebook. I like cheesy rom-coms. I like depressing romance films. I like them all. It's one of the genres that people don't really ask me about, but I actually really enjoy. But the reason why I wanted to see this is because of LaKeith Stanfield and Issa Rae. I love these two actors, and I want to see them do bigger and better things. LaKeith Stanfield has always been supporting or in the background. He's never been like a prevalent lead in a film, especially on a blockbuster level like this. This movie's not really that expensive, but it's being released by Universal, and he's the male lead in this romance, so that's kind of awesome. I'm glad that he's getting his chance for that. And of course, Issa Rae is talented, can be comedic, can be dramatic. She's got the complexity of a performer, and I like both of them. So I was like, this is perfect. Maybe they can make this story a little bit better for me. So I saw the movie last night. I wanted to sit on it for a little bit, and I come to the conclusion that I like the movie. I have a couple of negative things about it, but I think overall, this is not a bad bet for Valentine's Day weekend or day if you want to see this movie. I think people will love this movie. I like it, but I have a couple of negative things about it. But I think my overall experience, I enjoyed. So some of the negative things to get out of the way, I think the biggest thing is that this movie feels longer than it should. It's an hour and 46 minutes, but it feels like it's 2 hours plus. And I think it's because for the present relationship with Michael and May, the story is very stretched out. It feels very thin. It's not even a full relationship. It's just the first initial stages of the relationship. It's literally within it's like a 2 or 3 week time frame. It's not even that long. And so there's really not much to go off of. And some of the scenes kind of play a little longer out to kind of pad out that story. But I found the more interesting parts in the past relationship with May's parents, and the time period that they were in, maybe May's grandparents that we get to see, maybe some of the themes of regretfulness and not telling your loved one how you feel. So there's a lot of regret the older you get and as time goes on. I just felt like there was a lot of stuff there that I found more interesting to the story than the actual current timeline. But that's not to negate the current timeline. It's solid, but I think the past relationship from the 40s and 50s that we see, I found to be more interesting. That's basically it for the negatives. It's not going to really tear my grade down too much, but that's it for the negatives. So for the positives, as far as Stella Meggy, which I hope that's how you pronounce her name, I took a shot in the dark, and I was like, I think it's Meggy. There's a few things I liked about her approach to this story. If you look at the overall thing, it's a pretty generic romance film. It's not anything that's spectacular. But what I like about it is that she hones in on certain themes that a lot of people experience with relationships that aren't really touched upon in movies, and I really kind of like that. Dealing with the human psyche and diving into how people's brains are processing new relationships, and how just like what they're thinking. And there's a certain scene at the end of the movie that made me go, wow, this is the theme of the movie, and I really like this approach to it. So there's a scene with Rob Morgan's character, Isaac, and he's talking about how regretful he feels for losing the love of his life, not being honest with himself and telling her how he feels. And it was that performance that made me go, okay, this is the theme that she's going after, and I really like that. And so I just thought really kind of being touched upon is this idea of, you know, did we lose the one that we loved, you know, and we made a mistake. We made the wrong choice. We can't go back and fix it. But how do you fix it in the present time? And that's only for you to decide. Do you approach this as I got to go search this person out, or do you just kind of let it die because too much time has passed on? There's just all these questions that are brought up, and she really brings out this wonderful performance out of Rob Morgan. It makes you feel, and it's just it hits here, and I love that stuff in romances where it just feels genuine. It's not overly, you know, in your face, or it's not too manipulative with the music or anything. It's just this raw, genuine performance that just really hit home and made me understand what type of approach he was going for with this movie. Another thing I really liked about her vision for this film is actually the score. It has kind of like this loose, aloof, very kind of laid back kind of jazz feel where everything just feels kind of random, but it works in two different ways. I like the fact that it works as a relaxer type of background music to the scene. So if we're getting to know Michael and May just through conversation on the couch and they're just having a drink, talking to one another, and the music feels kind of laid back, and it makes us feel laid back. It makes us connect to these people on a more kind of human level, and where we can just kind of get to know them as like just, you know, people and friends, and really got to kind of see the relationship flourish. So the music works in that tandem, and also works as kind of like a almost like suspenseful, kind of intense feeling where the jazz will get so random and so loud that it makes us feel this kind of like heavy anxieties for these characters and wondering if they're making the right decision or not, you know, or if they haven't made the decision yet, we want them to. Like we were rooting for them because of the wonderful kind of padding with this loose jazz that was going on in the background. I thought that to be a really interesting artistic choice, so I'll give Stella full credit for that. And just in terms of overall vision, yeah, she did a solid job. So let's get to the performances. LaKeith has always been a leading man, always has. And this is finally a film that I hope a lot of people see and realize that he is a wonderful actor. Watch his weird stuff, like Sorry to Bother You. You know, watch Uncut Gems. Watch all this stuff that's just pushing him further into the stratosphere, but not a lot of people are seeing. And I'm just hoping this, as a leading man, this can do that. It can open people's eyes to his filmography. LaKeith has this kind of cool, calm, collected, and charming aspect about him as a person, just off of movies and on interview sets. It's translated here. And he's not aggressive as a reporter like you would think a reporter would be. He's a guy that generally cares about people. So when he's talking with these people, sometimes he gets a little bit too involved and he falls in love too quickly. A lot of people do that. That's a human flaw. There are certain points in this movie where I'm just like, why are you falling in love so quickly, man? You've already made this mistake. Given the fact that your brother in the film, played by Little Rel Howery, he's like, listen, you've done this before. And he's like, this feels different. I want to pursue this. Because there is that kind of feeling where if you feel like there's something there, you kind of want to pursue it, and you want to see what if, like what is going to happen from this. Because if you don't, you're going to sit there thinking like, you know, did I make a mistake? So I get where he's coming from. And even with that flaw that he has, it just makes him more relatable, more human. But yeah, he's got such a charming attitude about him. Hell, I even fell in love with him. He's just that good. And then Issa Rae, this was a different side of her that I've seen in a movie thus far post her show on HBO, which I have not seen, by the way. I will. But this gave her more of a... Because she usually does comedies, right? And she's usually, making the improv jokes. She's very quick, and she's really, really a funny presence on screen. But in this one, she's more reserved, and I love that because we get to see her kind of take all this information in as it's happening to her, wondering if Michael is a person that she should pursue. Is she following in the same footsteps as her mother? She's trying to look for her father at this point. It's like there's a lot going on with her, and I think she builds up this wall, this emotional wall that we physically see throughout the entire thing, and Michael chips away at it. He's able to bring it down for us, and that's awesome. That makes me feel very hopeful for this relationship, because where the movie ends, we're like, we didn't really get to see much of them, but it gives me hope that maybe they will continue. They might have their ups and downs, but they'll pursue this thing. And I think bringing down her emotional wall like that is really great for her character and her arc, and I thought she did a really great job just being a more reserved type of person that we haven't really seen that much before in movies. So, with her specifically. But yeah, great job. And then the supporting cast, all wonderful. Rob Morgan, that last scene that he has, wonderful. Some of the other people I wanted to give a shout out to, but I gotta pull up their names. Courtney B. Vance has a nice little supporting role. Lowbrow Howery is always the great comedic relief. Yolan Noel, I hope I pronounced that first name correctly. Dude, he was so good as the younger version of Isaac. And I was like, dude, this guy needs to be in more movies. You also have, what is her name? All right, I want to get this correctly. Jasmine Cephas Jones. It's probably not Cephas. Cephas. Forgive me. She was also wonderful as the Isaac's, kind of first love. Everyone brought their A game, and that's the one thing that kind of elevates this kind of generic romance film just from the surface, is the kind of amazing performances that help carry it through the finish line, and I will give full props to that. So, is this like one of the best romance films of all time? No. Is it a serviceable movie? I would say a little bit more than serviceable. I really enjoyed it. And I think if you wanted to go see something this weekend, this is a good bet to go on. Happy Valentine's Day, and go see a romance film, whether it be this one or you want to watch something that makes you depressed or watch something corny. Just go watch something. But I think this is a pretty good one. LaKeith Stanfield for the win. I hope this one puts him over the finish line. I hope people see more of his stuff. So I'm going to give The Photograph a B-. There's really nothing more to say, so that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want more movie reviews and just whatever I throw on this channel. You guys are awesome. Stay chill, stay super relaxed and aloof, like the jazz music and The Photograph. And I will see you guys next time for another review. I'm Chase Lee for DallasMoviescreenings.com. Peace out.